Long before the onion became a staple of every cuisine on Earth, it occupied a place of profound reverence in the human imagination. To ancient peoples, this layered, pungent, tear-inducing bulb was not merely food. It was a window into the cosmos, a token of the eternal, a weapon against disease, and a bargaining chip with the gods themselves. The story of the onion in myth and medieval culture is, at its heart, the story of how humans have always tried to read meaning into the natural world, finding in a simple vegetable the mysteries of life, death, and the divine. The onion's concentric rings, layer upon layer curling inward toward an invisible center, have fascinated humans since the earliest recorded civilizations. To many ancient cultures, this geometry was not accidental. It mirrored the structure of the heavens, the nesting of celestial spheres, and the mystery of what lies at the heart of existence. The Egyptians held the onion sacred, its spherical shape and concentric layers symbolizing eternity and the multiple heavens of the afterlife. Below is a survey of how the world's great ancient civilizations wove the onion into their mythologies, rituals, and spiritual lives. The onion's concentric rings, layer upon layer, curling inward toward an invisible center, have fascinated humans since the earliest recorded civilizations. To many ancient cultures, this geometry was not accidental. It mirrored the structure of the heavens, the nesting of celestial spheres, and the mystery of what lies at the heart of existence. The Egyptians held the onion sacred, its spherical shape and concentric layers symbolizing eternity and the multiple heavens of the afterlife. Below is a survey of how the world's great ancient civilizations wove the onion into their mythologies, rituals, and spiritual lives. Egyptians placed onions in the eye sockets and body cavities of mummies, believing their pungent scent and spherical layering would restore breath and vitality in the afterlife. Was entombed with onion-filled eye sockets. Priests were sometimes forbidden to eat them, so sacred was the onion considered. Greek athletes consumed onions in large quantities before the Olympic Games, convinced they balanced the blood and fortified the body. Onions were offered at the altar of the god Apollo, and soldiers carried them into battle as portable medicine and spiritual protection. Roman gladiators were rubbed down with onion juice before combat, a ritual believed to firm and strengthen their muscles. Pliny the Elder cataloged over 24 medicinal uses for the onion and noted its power to induce restful sleep. Onions were a currency of the poor and a symbol of robust health. In early Vedic culture, onion was both valued as medicine and avoided as a tamasic food, believed to stir passion and dull the mind, though Ayurvedic texts praised it for treating fevers, wounds, and eye ailments. Among the oldest written records of food in human history, Sumerian clay tablets from around 2500 BCE list onions as staple rations distributed from temple storehouses. They were among the vegetables tended in the sacred gardens of the ziggurat compounds, intimately linked with communal religious life. In Persian folklore, onions were hung above doorways to ward off evil spirits and the plague. Chinese herbalists, meanwhile, valued the spring onion as a yang, energizing food capable of clearing cold and dampness from the body, principles drawn from ancient Taoist cosmology. Across cultures and centuries, the onion's concentric layers gave rise to powerful symbolic languages. To peel an onion was to embark on a journey of revelation, an act philosophers and mystics alike found irresistible as a metaphor for the quest for hidden truth. In Neoplatonic philosophy, The cosmos was conceived as a series of nested spheres emanating from a divine center, a structure that the onion seemed to embody in miniature. The Gnostic tradition used the onion explicitly as an image of the multiple layers of divine reality one must penetrate to reach gnosis, or direct knowledge of the divine. To peel an onion is to find nothing at its center, and yet everything reveals itself in the peeling. This is the mystery the ancients saw. In Egyptian iconography, the circular form, echoed in the onion, was a symbol of the sun god Ra and the unbroken cycle of creation. The onion's ability to make people weep was read not as a nuisance, but as a kind of sacred power. It could move even the most stoic to tears, suggesting a proximity to deeper emotional and spiritual truths. This is why onion wreaths were placed on the chest of mummies. They were believed to trigger the breath of life. Folklore across many traditions also inverted the symbolism. The onion's layeredness meant it had no single solid core. It was all surface. From this came superstitions that a person who was deceitful or untrustworthy was like an onion, endlessly peelable with nothing substantial within. Yet this duality only deepened the onion's mythic resonance. It could signify both the eternal and the hollow, the sacred and the transient. When the classical world gave way to medieval Europe, the onion did not lose its special status. It transformed it. Stripped somewhat of direct cosmic symbolism by a Christian culture wary of pagan associations, the onion found a new life as the cornerstone of medieval medicine, diet, and practical magic. For the peasant and the physician alike, it was one of the most valued plants in existence. As the Roman Empire dissolved, knowledge of herbal medicine was preserved in monastery gardens across Europe. Monastic herbalists, following texts like Dioscorides' De Materia Medica, cultivated onions as a primary medicinal crop. Benedictine monks at Monte Cassino and later at St. Gall in Switzerland maintained detailed records of their therapeutic uses. The Emperor Charlemagne included onions, cipa, in his famous Capitulare de Vilis, an edict specifying which plants must be cultivated on royal estates across the Frankish Empire. This was both a culinary and medical directive, reflecting the onion's status as an indispensable plant of civilized life. The visionary abbess and polymath Hildegard of Bingen, 1098 to 1179, wrote extensively about the onion in her medical treatises, particularly Physica. She characterized onions as hot and moist in humoral terms, useful for combating cold ailments of the stomach and joints, though she cautioned against excessive consumption by the healthy as it might overheat the blood. When the bubonic plague swept through Europe from 1347, wiping out up to 1/3 of the population, onions became central to folk and medical plague prevention. Physicians hung strings of onions in sick rooms. Households placed cut onions on windowsills to absorb pestilential air, a miasmatic theory of disease that accorded the onion near magical protective powers. By the late medieval period, onions had become a significant commodity of trade. In parts of Northern Europe, they were accepted as rent payment and given as gifts. Medieval French market records show onion trading as one of the most regularized agricultural activities, with dedicated market days and standard measures for bulk sale. Medieval medicine operated within the Galenic framework of the four humors: blood, yellow bile, black bile, and phlegm, and the four qualities of hot, cold, moist, and dry. Every food and herb was classified within this system, and treatment consisted of restoring humoral balance through diet and herbal remedies. The onion was universally classified as hot and moist, a warming, drying food that could counteract cold, damp conditions of the body. From this theoretical foundation arose a remarkable breadth of practical applications. Onion syrup, made by simmering sliced onions with honey, was prescribed for coughs, colds, and chest congestion. The hot quality of the onion was thought to dissolve cold, wet phlegm accumulating in the lungs. Raw onion poultices were applied directly to infected wounds and battle injuries. Medieval surgeons noted that wounds treated with onion poultices were less likely to putrefy, an empirical observation that predated germ theory by 5 centuries. Cut raw onions were placed in rooms inhabited by the sick, on the theory that the onion's powerful volatile compounds would neutralize the bad air, miasma, believed to carry plague and other epidemic diseases through the atmosphere. Following Pliny's ancient recommendation, medieval physicians prescribed smelling or eating raw onion to relieve headaches and induce sleep. Onion juice mixed with vinegar was administered as a vapor inhaled through a cloth. Diluted onion juice was used for deafness and tinnitus, while an onion, honey, and hair bile remedy in the Anglo-Saxon Bald's Leech Book showed real antibiotic effects in modern lab tests. Onion was prescribed as a diuretic and a heart tonic. Medieval physicians noted that regular onion consumption seemed to ease dropsy, edema, and promote urinary flow, effects now attributed to quercetin and other flavonoids in the bulb. In medieval kitchens, the onion was omnipresent across all social strata, though its cultural associations shifted by class. For the peasantry, onion pottage, a thick soup of onions, oats, and whatever scraps were available, was a daily staple and a primary source of nutrition through long winters. For the aristocratic table, onions were integral to the rich, spiced sauces and broths beloved of courtly cuisine. Medieval cookbooks like the Fermi of Curie, circa 1390, feature onions in dozens of preparations from roasted meats to elaborate fish dishes. Onions were also pickled in vinegar and salt as a preservation method that extended their usefulness throughout the year. The transition from ancient sacred symbolism to medieval folk magic was gradual but thorough. Onions were used in love divinations. Young women in rural England would name onions after potential suitors, set them to sprout, and interpret which grew tallest as the omen of their future husband. Onions hung in bunches above doorways were believed to absorb and neutralize witchcraft directed at a household. In parts of Germany and France, dreaming of onions was interpreted as a sign of coming quarrels. The onion's power to make even the strongest person weep lent it an aura of irresistible force, making it a natural ingredient in protective charms and counter magic. It is no coincidence that the onion appears so consistently across the mythologies and medical traditions of unconnected civilizations. The onion attracted symbolic meaning through its layered self-preservation, underground resilience, pungent chemistry, and seemingly endless layers surrounding an elusive center. For ancient mythmakers, these properties mapped naturally onto the great human questions. What lies at the center of reality? What endures after death? How does one ward off invisible forces of evil and disease? The onion provided ready answers, not through argument, but through sensation, through the visceral immediacy of smell and tear and layer. Medieval Europe inherited these questions and gave them new Christian inflections, but the practical and magical power of the onion survived the transition unchanged. From Egyptian tombs to monastic herb gardens, from the gladiatorial arena to the plague-struck market town, the onion accompanied humanity through its most significant chapters, always present, always pungent, always more than it appeared. Thanks for your time. See you next round. Stay awesome. Michael Luxey.